You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, the atmospheric river is surging back across the Bay Area, and today almost every community is going to get drenched. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Let's get straight out to First Alert meteorologist Zoe Mintz in our virtual reality studio. And Zoe, for a while, the South Bay was kind of dodging everything, but not anymore.
Nope, they're going to get in on the action later today. So any Friday night plans that you have, South Bay communities, an umbrella. Promise you it will be necessary. You might not believe me now because it's still pretty quiet. We are still waiting for that atmospheric river or the stream of it to head further south, and it is going to. It's been packing a punch, bringing quite a lot of rain across the Pacific Northwest, Northern California. This is our radar loop over the past 24 hours, but it's only going to continue to get farther and farther south, and that's why our South Bay communities are going to get in on it. It's very interesting that we can see this huge swirly whirl, this huge comma shape that is the sign of the bomb cyclone and associated atmospheric river that's going to continue to allow this moisture to surge into the Bay Area. And again, it will be impacting everybody later tonight. Let's take a look at that, because as that storm system moves closer to land, it kind of breaks down. And as it does so, that's the reason that the atmospheric river stream kind of breaks away from the bomb cyclone and allows the stream to push even farther south. So this is what we'll be looking at by Sunday. It's going to be cloudier. It's not necessarily going to be wetter, as the bomb cyclone or the energy for that atmospheric river will be well out of our way. That means that we'll be seeing some light moisture on Sunday, but better chances for moisture are actually going to arrive into Monday. So let's take a look at that, because again, today we're looking at the bulk of the moisture arriving. It's going to be a heavy rain day today. Tomorrow, though, that rain will be pushing farther east and will be drying out by Saturday afternoon. By Sunday, it will likely remain dry as well before another wave of rain that's back here will arrive into Monday and Tuesday. So again, the bomb cyclone departing, but we're still looking at the impacts of the atmospheric river sticking around through early next week. It's going to bring us quite a lot of rain, and it's also just interesting to see that fire hose moving south and north all across the west coast of the United States, and that's what's bringing us all of this moisture. Very cool that we can see it just by looking at the water vapor that's in the air. Let's take a closer look at what you can expect, though, stepping out this afternoon, because most of us aren't looking at all too much activity other than the places that have been, like our North Bay areas. You've been seeing quite a lot of rain, and that rain is only going to continue. This is our loop over the past 4 hours. You notice this stronger band of rain that's beginning to arrive, and it's going to continue to impact especially our North Bay communities through about noon. Noon is expected the heaviest rainfall across our North Bay, and this line of heavy rainfall is going to continue to push farther south from noon to 4 p.m., gradually drifting southward. So here in San Francisco, along the peninsula, and Oakland, and even in some of our inland East Bay communities, this is when the pocket of heavier rain will arrive. This is at 4 p.m. Then from 4 to 8 p.m., this is when the South Bay will finally get in on the action. Again, 4 to 8 p.m. So it's not until later today that the rain is going to move into the South Bay. But these areas that you do see in yellow and orange, that reflects some heavier pockets of showers that we are expecting to stick around through about the later night hours. And then about midnight is when most of this activity will begin to fizzle out and push out of our hair. But up until then, you could see a good amount of rain. Let's look at our rainfall totals that we're expecting just today. South Bay community, San Jose, over an inch of rain just throughout this afternoon and evening. So those pockets of heavier rainfall will definitely be impactful over near Redwood City, over an inch and a half, Half Moon Bay over an inch and a half as well. And even here in San Francisco, because we'll be getting in on those heavier pockets of rainfall, over an inch just this afternoon. The further north you go, we're actually seeing lower totals, a very big change of pace compared to what we were seeing over the past couple of days. Still, though, we'll be seeing an additional inch to 2 inches across our North Bay communities. Napa, Sonoma, you've seen a lot of flooding, and with already saturated soils, these numbers not the greatest. So additional rainfall today means additional flooding today, especially for our river. So that's something we're going to keep a very close eye on. Into tomorrow, though, we'll be noticing a lot of the rain beginning to back off. It will be dissipating. Although an isolated shower in the early morning hours on Saturday can't be ruled out, it's going to be a lot drier. You'll be able to find dry times throughout the day on Saturday. So that's good news for any Saturday afternoon plans. Don't plan an all-day outdoor activity. But yes, you should find some dry times and some breaks in between the showers. So we're also going to look at our rainfall totals because we've seen some quite heavy rainfall totals. I'm going to have to walk off screen though so I can control our maps over there. But it's been rainy all morning here in San Francisco. That means we've actually seen a couple of additional tenths of an inch just throughout our morning hours. So in San Francisco, we're nearly at an inch of total rainfall. That's nothing, though, compared to the places across the North Bay. Like Santa Rosa, you've picked up over 1 foot of rainfall since Wednesday morning. That is some crazy high amounts, and that's the reason that we're looking at flooding, not just on low-lying roads and ponds, but we're also looking at river flooding as well. Over near Venado, 20 inches of rainfall. Those are some crazy high totals. That's actually some of the highest totals that we've seen no matter where you are in California. But then the lower you go in the South Bay, the lower the totals get. 0 in San Jose, 0.01 in Livermore. So it really depends on where you are, but everybody is going to see at least 1/2 of an inch today. Again, Northern California, you've been getting in on a majority of the action, but Venado, you've seen a lot of it, 20 inches. This was actually on our national show, just to show you that the Bay Area really has been soaked by this atmospheric river. Redding picked up nearly 10 inches. Again, San Rafael, nearly 7 inches, as that stream of moisture from the atmospheric river has really been situated over the northern half of the Bay Area since Wednesday. But by this afternoon, we'll look at that moisture beginning to drift southward and look at where that stream of moisture is. The South Bay finally getting in on that action, and that's why they're going to be seeing some slightly higher rainfall totals than even the North Bay communities throughout the later evening hours. Breaking down a little bit more of the timing, again, 1 to 2 inches Bay Area wide throughout this afternoon is expected. By tomorrow, we might see an additional couple of tenths of an inch, but again, you'll be seeing a lot of dry time on Saturday, and even more dry time is actually expected by Sunday afternoon. We're not really going to be seeing all too much activity Sunday, although an isolated shower can't be ruled out as we're still looking at this stream of moisture from that atmospheric river. By Monday, though, that's when our next wave of rain will arrive and bring a little bit more impactful rain to the area. So all the way through Monday and maybe even into early Tuesday, we are expecting these rainy conditions to stick around. But like I said, there will be breaks. Flood watches do remain in effect across the North Bay through early tomorrow morning. The area in red up near Guerneville, that's where we have Russian River flooding. We're expecting it to get above 33 feet, which means that we will definitely see river flooding on roadways. Also going to be looking at these wind advisories in effect as they'll be gusting upwards of 25 to 35 miles an hour. Not just windy and rainy for us, though. Over in the mountains, if you're planning on heading up to the Sierra this weekend, I would wait until next weekend because we're going to be seeing some very treacherous conditions. It's already seen a lot of accidents. Don't even attempt because blizzard-like conditions are expected across the Sierra. Again, that lasts all the way through Tuesday. So you might want to wait a little bit to enjoy all the fresh powder, but it's setting up some great skiing if maybe that's what you're planning on doing for Thanksgiving. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Zoe. Still ahead on CBS News Bay Area. We'll continue to track this atmospheric river moving through the Bay Area. Plus, we're going to take you to the North Bay, where the heavy rainfall is causing problems for drivers, has led to some emergency rescues. We'll be right back. Multiple creeks have overflowed in parts of Sonoma County, and the National Weather Service says numerous roads are submerged. Here's a look at some of the rushing water from last night. We sent our Veronica Macias to Santa Rosa to check out the conditions.
The trail here off of the Santa Rosa Creek is closed off for people, and there are warning signs, not just here, but throughout the city. And as you can see, there's a cycle of the water rising here at the creek and then subsiding. The fire department tells me that has been the biggest problem for them. They're making sure that this creek, along with other streams, doesn't have any backups because they've seen light rain and then they see the downpours. At the moment, this water has subsided here at the creek, but people are being told to stay away. This morning, I talked to people who were just curious to know what the water level was like before they headed out to work.
It looks like it might have actually gone down a little bit because there's debris up higher, so I'm not too worried about it. It's more of a curiosity. We've had other rain like this and been okay. I think Santa Rosa is going to be okay, at least this part.
Over at the Santa Rosa Municipal Yard, where sandbags are available around the clock for people, we did talk to a man who says water is already starting to creep in to his garage.
Well, first responders are on high alert again today, preparing to rescue people from potential flood waters. Rising water stranded several people at a medical clinic yesterday in Santa Rosa when the parking lot flooded. Rescue crews had to evacuate patients and workers to safety. And we spoke to one woman who said her mother, who is in a wheelchair with a broken hip, was stuck inside.
And she came here for an appointment. And when her appointment was over, this was completely flooded. So she can't get out.
A lot of these streams and creeks just can't handle this volume of water in this short amount of time, but crews are continuing to do what they can to keep things moving.
Floodwaters never breached the building and were contained to the parking lot. In Grayton, rescue workers had to tow this car out of several feet of water yesterday. We're told the driver got trapped trying to make it through the flooded road just west of Santa Rosa. And it's not only the roads, the relentless rain flooded a vineyard in Sebastopol. From high above, you can see the extent of the damage, and some who live in the area worry this storm is only the beginning.
I guess the concern is really, starting this early, how long this goes on. If this goes on all winter long, we could have serious problems.
Yeah, and serious problems means a serious forecast. So let's check back in with meteorologist Zoe Mintz from our virtual reality set as she continues to track the storm. Hey, Zoe.
Oh, hey, it's a crazy storm system. That's not just a 1-day, 2-day, 3-day system, but it's a week-long system. It started impacting us early Wednesday morning, and so far, here are just some of the highest totals, with Venado and Santa Rosa picking up over a foot of rainfall. Crazy high totals, and the reason that widespread flooding is currently taking place, and with already completely saturated soils, any additional rainfall, it has nowhere to go. So it's just going to continue to add up and continue to increase that flooding potential. You notice, though, at the bottom of this list, Livermore, San Jose, our inland East Bay communities down to the South Bay have been basically dry since the atmospheric river arrived, but I promise you they will be getting in on the action this afternoon as the wave of moisture pushes farther and farther south. Still, though, the biggest flooding potential still lies up across the North Bay. Like I said, there's nowhere for that additional rain to go, so even an extra 1 to 2 inches that you're expecting this afternoon could pose some threats, which is why we do have our flood watches in effect until early tomorrow morning. But you notice those areas in red as well. Those are flood warnings that are in effect, mainly for the Russian River, because we are expecting it with the additional rainfall today moving downstream to get up to 33 or more feet. That means that there are going to be highways and roads that are underwater if the river does get to that high, which the forecast is expected to. So always remember, turn around, don't drown. It's not expected to crest until later tonight, so just keep your eyes on those incoming river levels as they continue to get higher through the rest of today. As we head out through the rest of today, though, and tomorrow and Sunday, we're going to see more additional high rainfall totals adding up. And look at the area that they are going to be the highest. Finally, our South Bay communities getting in on some of that action. I think these rainfall totals may be a little bit high, but you could potentially see upwards of 1 to 2 inches of additional rainfall throughout the rest of the weekend in San Jose, in the Santa Clara Valley, and even for some of our inland East Bay communities, while the North Bay still going to be seeing an additional 1 to 2 inches, but shouldn't be necessarily as impactful as the storm system systems that we saw over the past couple of days. Up across Northern California, it's very evident that that atmospheric river, the center of it, will continue to push southward. So they're not getting in on the most abundant of the moisture like they were for the past couple of days. But it's not just rainy, it's also very windy out there. So make sure you hold on to your hats. Those wind advisories staying in effect. And it's also snowy up across the Sierra. I want to break down the timing, though, of the rain. If we take a look outside, so I have a chance to go and get the way for me to control our cool virtual reality set. It's rainy and you can barely even see the Bay Bridge from our window. Normally it's a clear, beautiful view of it. Right now, there's not all too much to see because another wave of rain has arrived and it's actually getting heavier and heavier as I speak. And those heavier waves of rain will continue to trend southward and southward. So this is a view from noon to 4 p.m. That heavy rain across the North Bay this morning trending farther south, and by 4 to 8 p.m. the heavier rain pushing down into San Jose. So any Friday night plans, San Jose and the Santa Clara Valley, you will need to grab an umbrella and maybe even a rain jacket because it's going to stay pretty steady all night long. Over the next 7 days, we will continue to see a lot of rainy weather sticking around, but there will be breaks. It's not going to be a complete washout every single day. Today is easily going to be the heaviest day of rainfall, drying out into Saturday and likely drying out into Sunday as well. Our models are beginning to trend a lot drier Sunday afternoon, albeit still cloudy. By Monday afternoon and evening and into Tuesday, that's when that next more impactful storm system will arrive. And by Wednesday and into Thursday, everyone knows what next Thursday is, Thanksgiving. It looks like it should be drying out just in time for the holidays. So that's good news, but up until then, you got to grab an umbrella and keep it handy. You're going to be seeing some rain over the next couple of days. Back to you.
All right, dry for Turkey Day. Okay, mountain resorts in Tahoe are welcoming all this fresh snow this week. Boreal opens for the season today, and the weather has set them up pretty well. Sakura Gray is there with more.
You want to make sure you're prepared if you are heading on out here. Caltrans has advised people to have a go bag in the car with things like water, extra chargers, snacks, just because if you end up spending a little bit extra time on the road, you don't want to be straight out of luck. In Soda Springs at Boreal Mountain Resort, celebrating their opening day. I'm joined here with Tucker Nord with Boreal Mountain. All right, it's an exciting day because you're celebrating an exciting milestone today.
That's right. Today is our 60th anniversary here at Boreal, and with that, we're doing $25 lift tickets for everybody today.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the snow itself. We had a little bit of a combination between man-made snow and Mother Nature. What's it been looking like for the past few weeks?
Yeah, it's really been coming together here with our snowmaking system going around the clock with those cool temps, and then we got 22 inches with that last storm, which gave us enough to be able to open our Castle Peak chairlift today at 9 a.m.
So there's going to be a combination of folks showing up early to be on first chair, and then maybe some people heading on over here after work. What are the hours going to look like today?
That's right. We're open 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. So we'll keep the lights on for you. If you're working today and you clock out, you can still make it up the hill and get some laps in for opening day.
All right, well, there you have it. They're going to keep the lights on for you out here if you are heading over here after work. Remember to keep those supplies in your car if you do. Remember to have chains in your car as well, and keep monitoring. Caltrans actually has a phone number that you can call, and it's voice activated, and you just say whatever highway you're taking, and they'll let you know what the road conditions are. So save that number in advance on your phone, and then get out here, get ready to shred.
Yeah, shred away. Still ahead, this atmospheric river has been especially brutal in the North Bay. We'll explain why that area has been bearing the brunt of this storm.
We have seen quite a lot of rainfall from this first atmospheric river of the season. It's been extremely impactful, and we are going to continue to feel those impacts over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at the big picture, though, and see this storm system from space, because it is huge. It is a very impactful storm system, not just for us, but all across the west coast of the United States. That comma structure, that intense circulation up across the Pacific Northwest, that was the bomb cyclone, and that associated atmospheric river is what's ushering in all of the rain. But you might notice how much of that moisture is centered across the northern part of the state, and it's the reason that the northern half of the Bay Area saw so much of that rain. But you also might notice it's not just one low pressure system in swirly whirl. That second low pressure system behind it is beginning to shine bright as the light from the sun begins to reveal it. But that secondary low pressure system is going to wrap around and increase moisture chances and rain chances through early next week. So this system is going to continue to impact us, not just through the weekend, but early next week as well. Again, that first storm system will begin to move over the land. And as it does so, you'll notice that stream of moisture pushing farther south. And that's the reason that the southern half of the Bay Area on the second half of this atmospheric river is going to see a lot more of the impacts than the northern half. It's kind of going to do a flip-flop from what we saw at the beginning. So our rain chances are going to be a lot higher, actually, across our South Bay as this wave of moisture arrives by late Sunday and into Monday, and then another system by Monday and into Tuesday. Again, it's all coming from farther south, so it will be impacting farther south in the Bay Area, which is great news for those of us that haven't seen much rain. South places like San Jose, you're going to be getting in on it into this afternoon. Let's take a closer look at the breakdown of how much of that rain you can see and the exact timing of it. This is our radar loop over the past 4 hours. You notice this strong line of showers is arriving to our North Bay communities, and this strong line of showers is the one that's going to begin to push south and impact everybody by later today. So let's take a look at our rainfall through the next couple of hours. Again, it's going to be a bit more widespread. It's not going to be too heavy until about now through noon. That's when the heavy rain is going to continue to impact our North Bay communities. But from noon to 4 p.m., this line of heavier showers will continue to push farther and farther south. So the heaviest rain pushing farther south over more of our inland East Bay communities down near the peninsula. In Oakland, we'll be seeing those heavier showers. And then from 4 to 8 p.m., the shower line of heavier activity continues to move even farther south. So it's not until about 4 through 8 p.m. that south places like San Jose and our South Bay communities will be seeing that heavier rainfall. So don't expect it over the next hour or two. It's not until later today. But any Friday night plans you have, you're definitely going to need an umbrella if you do live in San Jose. So if you're heading out now all day and you don't think you'll need an umbrella, I promise you later today you will. Most of the activity, this is our view at midnight, will begin to wrap up by about 11 p.m. or midnight. So it's not going to be a rain overnight situation for most of us, although an isolated sprinkle can't be ruled out. How much rain can you see today, though? It's going to be quite a lot. Down in San Jose and Los Gatos, over an inch to an inch and a half in some locations. We'll be seeing even more chances for rain. I think my tracker turned off, so that's why I'm behind all of these. Should we turn on? There we go. In just a second. Even places like Half Moon Bay, San Francisco, well over an inch. Redwood City, over an inch and a half. Places like Novato, Petaluma, Santa Rosa, that's seen the heaviest of the rainfall over the past couple of days. You're not going to see the heaviest rainfall today, which is really good news. However, any additional rain, 1 to 2 inches even, doesn't sound like a lot compared to the 12 to 20 inches you've already seen, but the soil's already saturated. There's nowhere for this rain to go, so it's going to pond on the roadways. And please remember, turn around and don't drown. It's not worth getting somewhere a couple minutes quicker. It's worth saving your life. Let's take a look outside right now while I have a chance to go and get my little clicker so I can show you some more fun graphics on the side, because it's very, very misty right now. A cloud is literally making its way over the Bay Bridge, so we can't see much of anything. And that's the reason that it's pretty quiet and it's pretty cloudy out there. Quiet, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's rainy. And we're going to continue to see these rainy conditions, especially making their way farther south. Let's take a closer look at how much we've already seen. Like I said, 12 to 20 inches across parts of the North Bay. These are other totals from different places in California. You notice the Bay Area has definitely been the big winners if it comes to that when it comes to the rainfall. Definitely have seen seen it farther north, but then you notice that rain shaft moving farther south, and that's why our South Bay communities today are going to get in on all of that action. Taking a better look at the timing of the rain, we're expecting a majority of it to fall throughout the next couple of days. This is Monday at 6 a.m. We could see a lot of rain down south. I think these totals are a little bit higher than what they should be. However, it's just very interesting to see how far south that nose of moisture from that atmospheric river nudges just over the weekend ahead of us. So it's going to be changing the location of the heaviest rain. Keep that in mind as we step out over the next several days. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Zoe. So why did the North Bay feel the brunt of this storm? Meteorologist Darren Peck joined me last night on our evening edition to explain why. Yeah, all my friends in the South Bay are calling me, is this going to be a bad thing? I don't see any rain.
Not for them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be bad. They're going to get rain tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you remember Bombtober?
Yes.
From 2021?
I do.
Of course you do. We had a storm that looked almost exactly like this come through. It had a bomb cyclone driving it. It had a very strong atmospheric river that gave us record amounts of rain. We've been here before. Some of the numbers from this one are already unprecedented. So before I go into a little bit of context on how this storm is put together and what makes it so weirdly unique, look at the numbers. Just like Ryan was saying, San Jose, you haven't gotten anything yet. You might have seen a drop or two, but you haven't gotten anything measurable. Look at the stark differences as we work our way north. San Francisco, I know you've got rain, but you go over the Golden Gate Bridge and it's like you cross an invisible barrier. Paul was showing this to you earlier. This storm has lived up here. Santa Rosa, you are now in the record books from this. 2 different reporting stations. So the airport shattered the all-time record, but that record doesn't go back that far. It was a 24-hour record that they broke. The older center that does go back 120 years in Santa Rosa is about to break the all-time record for 48-hour rainfall totals. And then, of course, look at Venado. Already 16 inches since it started, notoriously one of the rainier spots in the Bay. Let me give you the visual on why the North Bay got hit so hard here in comparison. We're going to come over here to the forecast imagery. And when we do this, we're going to look at the last 48 hours. I think this is one of the starkest images to see when you look at how this system is put together and why it is so different from one part of the Bay to the other. What you just saw was 2 days of accumulated rainfall, and the pattern on there shows you the footprint of an atmospheric river. The way we've been describing this for days now, it's like a fire hose, very narrow ribbon of moisture that points at a very limited location. The problem with this one is it's stalled. It's stalled in one spot. And from Sonoma County northward, it's just been pummeling. It is going to start moving tomorrow. There's good news. But it's not just the atmospheric river. Go back to Wednesday morning. That area of low pressure, the bomb cyclone, we talked about how it rapidly intensified. It didn't just intensify quickly. It also intensified to reach the strongest area of low pressure on record for that latitude at this time of year. So it was an intensely strong area of low pressure. This is exactly the way the storm in October of 2021 was put together. You're forgiven for not remembering that. But we did this in October of 2021. It was the same story. That's what this thing looks like over 24 hours. You see the bomb cyclone drifts away, and it goes to a spot off the coast of British Columbia and then just sits there. And that's the steering wheel for this. And as long as that thing just sat there, we got caught in the middle of this atmospheric river. You're looking at 2 days now of satellite imagery rather than just the radar depiction of where the rain fell. That atmospheric river is getting pulled out of the subtropics. You're looking at sea surface temperatures, color-coded. Yellow and orange shows you where sea surface temperatures are warmer than average. Warmer than average sea surface temperatures gives you a big pool of water that can evaporate much easier. It's warmer, doesn't take that much work, and it can get pulled into storms much easier. Why is this atmospheric river so darn rainy? Well, if we superimpose that over the sea surface temperatures, look at the source region. It's getting pulled up right out of that region where sea surface temperatures are anomalously warm. They're way above average. If we go back to that map again, that's the atmospheric river. That's where the fuel's coming from. One of the things we know about a warmer planet, especially out here in the oceans, is you can put more water vapor into the atmosphere. And that is a hallmark of what we're likely going to see more of going forward. We saw one of these in October 2021. A lot of us have forgotten and moved on with our lives. But these things have a pattern now that we kind of recognize, and we're doing it all over again right now.
Well, coming up in our next half hour on CBS News Bay Area, we'll continue to track this atmospheric river bringing heavy rain throughout the Bay Area. More storm coverage right after the break.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, the atmospheric river is back today with the rain more widespread just in the North Bay. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. Let's get back to our first alert forecast and meteorologist Zoe Mintz in our virtual reality studio. Hey, Zoe.
Oh, what a great shot there of the Golden Gate. I'm sure many people driving in that not loving my enthusiasm about it, but either way, it's raining. There's nothing we can do about it besides prepare and make sure that we are as safe as we can, because there's flooding ongoing as this huge storm system continues to swirl over the west coast, and it's stalled out like Darren was saying earlier, and it's continuing to usher in all of this moisture. And then you notice that secondary system right behind it. I do not know why my tracker keeps on turning off, so I can point to this once it's on. Yeah, there we go. That secondary system right behind it. This is the one that's going to continue to usher in even more moisture into early next week. And you might be wondering, where is all of it coming from? You can actually pinpoint exactly where the moisture stream that's impacting us is traced back to. It's all the way back in the central Pacific near Hawaii, and that's because the water temperatures are actually warmer over there. Significantly warmer water temperatures are allowing a lot of evaporation to go on, a lot of cloud coverage to form, and those clouds streaming in along that atmospheric river, that thin band of moisture, and that's the reason that we're seeing so much of it. Warm water, it's getting carried over it towards us. And let's take a look at what we're going to expect over the next couple of days. That warm water carrying in all of that moisture, and there's a lot of it coming from the warm water, and that's going to continue to impact us. Again, you see that second low pressure system swirling and ushering in even more moisture. But the biggest difference that you might notice from this system compared to what we were seeing over the past couple of days is that it's a lot farther south. The past couple of days, it's been all across Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, but by early next week, that band of moisture will be set up across Southern California. So that means southern half of the Bay Area is going to be getting in on a lot more of that moisture by the end of the weekend, and into early next week. Let's take a look at the rain, though, because today we're definitely going to see the most of it. Today will be the most impactful rain day for a majority of us, especially here in San Francisco, Oakland, inland East Bay communities that might have only seen a couple of sprinkles or drizzles. Farther south, like San Jose, you haven't seen anything yet, and you're definitely going to be seeing more into this afternoon, and you'll be even seeing more as we step out later in the weekend and into early next week as that secondary wave of moisture pushes in even farther south, riding along that secondary low pressure system that's swirling up to our north. It's also interesting to see that fire hose of precipitable water that's just making its way north and south, up and down the west coast of the United States. And the reason that we're seeing so much of that activity, but not all at once, although North Bay communities did see it all at once, because that fire hose was basically centered over them for the past 48 hours, and they're still seeing a good amount of rain. This is our loop over the past 4 hours. Radar definitely showing us a good amount of activity across the North Bay, but then this heavier band of rain is currently arriving, and this heavy band of rain is the band that is going to be impacting San Jose and our South Bay communities by later this afternoon. Let's take a look, though, from noon to 4 p.m. because North Bay community is going to be seeing the heavier rain earlier this morning, but by later today, this heavier band of rain is actually going to push farther and farther south. So by 4 p.m., it's the peninsula, it's our inland East Bay communities, it's the hills that are going to be seeing more of that heavy rainfall action. Again, this is 4 p.m. Might be on your way home from work today, so you're going to have to take it slow on the roads. From 4 to 8 p.m., this is when San Jose and our South Bay communities will finally get in on the action. So you might be heading home from work in San Jose, and you might be saying, you know what, those meteorologists lied to me. We didn't. I promise you, it is coming your way by later tonight. By late tonight Friday, you'll be needing an umbrella, and you might even see upwards of an inch or more of rainfall. Let's take a look at our totals potentially today. I don't know why this thing keeps on turning off and I keep on going behind them, but either way, over an inch of rain is possible down near San Jose, Los Gatos, Redwood City, Half Moon Bay, Fremont. Over an inch to an inch and a half of rain throughout this afternoon and evening. It's going to be a pretty impactful band of rain that will arrive. Further north you go, you're still going to see those 1 inch plus totals, but you notice there's not nearly as big of a range of those rainfall totals. When our North Bay communities yesterday and the day before were seeing 10 plus inches and South Bay were 0, now we're all getting in on the action. We're all going to see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches. But the issue with the North Bay is that an additional 1 to 2 inches on top of the 12 to 20 inches that they've already seen is not good because there's nowhere for the rain to go. With already completely saturated soils, the rain just piles on top of what's already there. So we're going to continue to see more flooding throughout the next couple of days, not just on ponds and low-lying areas, but also on rivers. River flooding is definitely going to be a concern as we step out over the next couple of days. So I'm going to show you those rainfall totals, but I have to step off really quickly and get my clicker to show you. So I'm going to ask to go over to that wall over there while I talk about some rainy conditions out there, because yeah, it's raining and it's gloomy and you'll need an umbrella today. Any outdoor plans you had, I'm so sorry if you had them. You're not going to need them because you're going to be probably moving them indoors. It's not going to be a great day to get outside and enjoy yourself unless you love the rain, and it's not actually too cold out there. So that's actually the kind of good news about today's weather. Yes, it's gloomy and it's not great, but it's not freezing cold like we were waking up to the past couple of days. We're not in the 30s and 40s. Or in the 50s and 60s. So it's mild, not necessarily a warm jacket, but a rain jacket is necessary this afternoon, with a lot of rain already having fallen, and again, 0 inches down in San Jose. But like I showed you earlier, that rain, I promise you, is on the way. We're going to see even more of it over the next couple of days, again, as that river, that stream of atmospheric moisture, Darren showed you where it was over the past couple of days. This is where it's heading. So luckily, San Jose, South Bay, and Inland East Bay going to be getting in on the action. It's not going to be crazy totals. It's not going to be those 10+ inches like what we saw in our North Bay communities, but it's going to be some very beneficial rainfall. So that is good news. Let's take a look at those totals again as we'll be setting out through tomorrow morning and early afternoon, 1 to 2 inches across the area. It's not going to be anything crazy, but we are going to continue to see those totals add up through the weekend, although maybe 1/10 of an inch of additional rain through the weekend. It's not going to be an inch or two. It's not going to be crazy impactful systems all the way through Monday, but by Monday afternoon and evening, that's when we're expecting our next round of rain to arrive and become more widespread, and a more impactful wetting rainfall into early Tuesday morning is expected. However, we do still have those flood watches and flood warnings that are in effect all across our North Bay communities. North Bay communities, you're going to be seeing flooding, ponding on roadways. Right now it's through early tomorrow morning, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did get extended a little bit farther because, like I said, there's nowhere for the additional rain to go. If you do live near the Russian River, remember, turn around, don't drown. It is not worth getting somewhere a couple minutes quicker. It's worth saving your lives, and I hope everybody stays safe over the next couple of days. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Zoe. Up next, we'll go even further up north to Mendocino County, where people are keeping a very close eye on the rising waters. Well, in Mendocino County, people are anxiously watching the rivers and creeks rise in Ukiah as the rain adds up. A lot of the focus is shifting to the waterways that are starting to surge and the ground that is becoming saturated. Runoff is moving in every direction.
This is not normal. No, it's come up really, really quick. Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a couple days here.
Wow, that's higher than usual. We get a lot of rain, but this is kind of different because it's been really steady.
Yeah, I like to come out and check out the storm when it's storming.
This is a good one?
That's a pretty good storm, yeah.
Well, Caltrans now warning people to avoid driving if possible as crews work to clear the roads of debris. Well, the relentless rain in the North Bay has already flooded some homes in Santa Rosa. Residents we spoke to with this morning. This storm is one of the worst they've ever seen. One guy told us his garage was flooded just a couple of years ago, and now it's happening again.
It's absolutely amazing. It's flooding my house right now as we speak. This time it's really hit me hard.
Well, he's taking it all in stride, though. He told us he's been through some tough times, but it keeps him entertained and healthy and his, well, wallet empty. Okay, let's check back in with Zoe as she continues to track the storm. Hey, Zoe, where's it at right now?
Well, it's going to be heading our way and it's going to continue to impact us as we step out later this afternoon. It's pushing farther south, which is really great news for the southern parts of the Bay Area that haven't really gotten in on much of the moisture. Just to recap, though, how much we have seen all across the Bay Area, we have been the big winners, so or the big losers, depending on how you think of it when it comes to the rainfall. Upwards of a foot to over 1.5 feet of rain for some parts of the Bay Area. Definitely the most across Northern California, and that line of rain is going to continue to push farther south, like we were talking about. South parts of the Bay Area, San Jose, later tonight you will be getting in on that action, so an umbrella will be necessary, and you're going to be expecting a good amount of rain all the way through Sunday and into Monday. So I think these totals honestly are a little bit too high, especially for the South Bay, but either way, it shows you the trend that atmospheric river, the center of the moisture hose, is going to be pushing further south, so the northern parts of California not going to be getting in on nearly as much of that action. I'm going to step away for a second. I'm going to show you outside, show you the Bay Bridge, or maybe, yes, we can see the Bay Bridge. Before we couldn't even see it because it was so darned rainy out there. It was so rainy, the visibility was decreased, and yeah, definitely going to have to keep two hands tight on the wheel this afternoon. But this afternoon, we're also looking at quite a lot of rain that is on the way. So I want to break it down for you and show you exactly when you can expect the rain. And take a look at the current radar, because over the last 4 hours, things have definitely gotten stronger. There was a couple of isolated showers early this morning, but North Bay communities, you're looking at the fire hose returning as we step out over the next couple of hours. You see it strengthening and strengthening, and this fire hose, again, is going to begin to point southward throughout the next couple of hours. So, like I showed you, we're going to be continuing to see this rain trending southward. This is noon to 4 p.m., our forecast radar loop, where the heavier rainfall will be trending farther south. So our Oakland Hills, our Inland East Bay communities down near the peninsula, we will be seeing that heavier rain trending farther south. And then from 4 to 8 p.m., this is when the heavier rain will officially arrive to our South Bay communities. So do not expect the rain to the South Bay to arrive any sooner than later this afternoon. But grab an umbrella if you're heading out earlier today, and you're not going to be home to grab it later, because I promise you, you are going to need it. How much rain can you expect? Actually, a very good amount of it, over an inch for many of our South Bay communities over the next 12 to 24 hours. Over 1.5 inches in places like Los Gatos, Half Moon Bay, Redwood City, Fremont, San Francisco, a little bit under 1.5 inches. But you know what? It is going to be impactful later today, and any outdoor plans, you're going to want to switch them to indoors or enjoy the rain while you can, because it will be raining out there. There's nothing we can do about it. North Bay communities, this is where you won't be seeing nearly as impactful rainfall totals, not nearly as heavy, but an additional 1 to 2 inches on top of the already saturated soils. That is going to be a big issue. So flooding will be continuing throughout the next couple of days as the rain continues as well. Over the next 7 days, we are going to see breaks in the rain, though. It's not going to be a rain all day, rain every day situation. There's definitely going to be dry times. Today's the most impactful day of the rain. Tomorrow, drying out, and we'll be seeing those drier conditions on Sunday as well. Models are beginning to trend a lot drier. By Monday and into Tuesday, though, that's when another more impactful system will likely arrive and bring more widespread rain across the Bay Area. And again, South Bay communities, you will be getting in on it as well. So we'll be seeing those tides changing, going from our North Bay communities getting all of the activity, pushing down to our South Bay and getting a bit more widespread and less impactful, as that fire hose is not nearly going to be as narrow as it has been the past couple of days. It will be widening out and diffusing as it does so. So yes, rain is on the way, but there will be breaks. I hope you can find some and enjoy parts of the weekend. Even though it's still going to be pretty cloudy on Sunday, there will definitely be plenty of dry times. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Zoe. Coming up, we're going to show you how the storm isn't stopping some people from standing in line outside a store in the East Bay just days before it even opens.
Flooding continues across the Bay Area. Flood watches and warnings are in effect as we're looking at not only low-lying and ponding on the roadways, but we're also looking at river flooding and creek flooding. And those river levels actually only going to get higher into this afternoon. So it's something we'll be keeping a very, very close eye on. I want to take a wild look out one more time and show you all this big storm system from space, because it is so darned impressive. Not only one center of circulation now, that low pressure is split into two, and it's the secondary area of circulation that's going to usher in even more moisture through the later parts of the upcoming weekend and into early next week. But until then, we still have a lot to talk about when it comes to today's system, because this is likely going to be the heaviest rain that many areas across the Bay will be seeing. Other than the North Bay, they already saw their heaviest rounds of rain over the past couple of days, when 12 to upwards of 20 inches fell. Today, they'll be seeing an additional inch or two along with much of the Bay Area. Right now, though, this is our loop over the past 4 hours, where you notice a stronger line of showers. It's approaching, and it will continue to push farther and farther south over the next couple of hours. It's something we'll be keeping a very close eye on. From noon to 4 p.m., this is when the stronger line of showers will begin to impact us here in the Bay, or impact us here in San Francisco, in the peninsula, in the Oakland Hills, and in our inland East Bay communities. That line of rain will continue to push farther south from 4 to 8 p.m. And this is finally when our South Bay communities are going to get in on the action. So if you have any evening plans, any Friday night dinner plans, South Bay communities and basically everybody are going to need to grab an umbrella or grab a rain jacket because it's also going to be pretty breezy out there as well. We'll be continuing to see this rain sticking around through about 10 or 11 p.m. before a lot of that activity very quickly dissipates through about midnight. How much rain can you expect, though? A good amount for a majority of us. This afternoon, we will be continuing to see about 1 to 2 inches of rain possible for many locations. Upwards of an inch in San Jose, even more than that down in Los Gatos, Redwood City, Half Moon Bay, and in San Francisco, all right around an inch and a half. Up north, though, this is where you'll notice a big change in numbers. An inch and a half to maybe 2 inches as well. Compared to all of the activity that we've been seeing over the past couple of days, this is a lot lower of those totals, but the already saturated soil, all of this rain has nowhere to go. So the increasing numbers of rain only going to increase that threat for flooding as we step out over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast, though, because it's interesting that we can see some breaks in the rain, which is good because we need breaks. We need a break from the rain to help dissipate when it comes to that flooding threat and help that soil not become so saturated, help it dry out a little bit. This afternoon, again, will be the most impactful day of the next 7, likely. Drying out Saturday and Sunday. Not to say an isolated shower isn't possible, but it's not going to be nearly as widespread or impactful. We are going to continue to see, oh no, the chance for rain as early as next week. And then by the later parts of next week, this is when things get very interesting because my favorite holiday is coming up, Thanksgiving. And lucky for all of us, maybe traveling for Thanksgiving, it dries out by Wednesday. So if maybe you plan on taking a flight Wednesday, it doesn't look like there should be many delays when it comes to the weather, at least. By Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, it should be drying out even more and sunny skies should be returning by your Thanksgiving Day all across the Bay Area. Temperatures will be slightly below normal, so it all kind of depends on where you're located. But either way, we're going to be seeing a lot drier weather by the middle to later parts of next week. However, not to say it's going to be completely drying out because long-range models are definitely pointing at the chance for even more rain by late Thursday and into Friday. It looks like this isn't working, so we're just going to walk back over to the wall if I have more time because, yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff that's going on. I'm going to walk off screen, though, really quickly and grab my clicker so I can actually control things because it's pretty hard to do that without technology to control it. But either way, flood watches continue to be in effect over the next couple of days. Rainy weather will continue as well, barely even seeing the Bay Bridge out there. And we here are going to continue to see North Bay communities flooding threats. Like I said, the Russian River, that's where the big issues are going to lie. We're expecting those river levels to continue to increase over the next couple of hours and through tonight, where we're expecting them to crest at over 33 feet, which will mean that roads are going to be flooded. As always, stay safe. More rain is on the way. More flooding is on the way. Prepare now. Always remember, turn around, don't drown. Give yourself a couple extra minutes on the roadways this afternoon. And if you have any Friday night plans, please grab your umbrella. Back to you.
Well, in Pleasanton, a handful of people are braving the storm and camping out to be the first in line for the grand opening of a brand new Costco. And that's not going to open for another 5 days. So what's everyone after? Why are they standing in line in the rain? Well, apparently there's a great deal on bourbon. Yeah, bourbon. Sean is a first-timer. He has been in line for 2 days. He told our Julia Goodrich that he only leaves his spot for a quick nap in his SUV, parked in the parking lot. So what does his wife think of what he's doing?
Have you gone insane? Are you sure you want to do this? Shouldn't you be here with our family?
You're doing this for the family.
Yeah, so when I get home with these bottles of bourbon, we can all drink them together, and it'll be a family experience that we'll never forget.
That's got to be some good bourbon. Okay, well, the doors open at 8 a.m. the day before Thanksgiving. After a morning ribbon cutting, it will be the third Costco in the Tri-Valley. We'll stay up to date with this current wave of rain as well as the next rounds moving through tomorrow and into next week. You can always find the latest on our website at KPIX.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We'll be right back with more weather coverage right after the break.